base got that swag. My base. Swag to make. That swag to make. My base got that swag. Swag, 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 swag to make the my base pop beef got swag to make the my base pop beef got my beef got base my base pop beef got swag to make the my base pop beef my got base 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 my base pop beef you got swag to make the my base pop yeah my beef got base my base pop beef got swag to make the my base got that swag 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 swag. My base, swag to make, that swag to make. My base got that swag. My base, swag to make, that swag to make. My base got that swag. My base, swag to make, that swag to make. My base got that swag, 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 swag to make the my base pop beef got swag to make the my base pop beef got my beef got base my base pop beef got swag to make the my base pop beef my got base 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 my base pop beef you got swag to make the my base pop.
Right then, guys. Right. Let's jump in.
Beef got swag to make the
Welcome in. Just enjoying the tunes there. Just on the old multiverse at the minute. Pretty steady day in the markets. If you watched the video that I put out earlier, I tried to get that out as early as possible. So you'll kind of know my rough sentiment in and around this price action on BTC. But we'll have a look at all the data because I haven't looked at certain markets in a few hours. And as we know, things can change quickly, session by session, despite the fact that crypto is 24-hour. Things can change very quickly, can't they? So we'll have a look at everything together. Welcome into the trader console, the TRDR.io console. Grab a link from below for a free trial. Don't forget to jump into the docs page and the academy for all the juicy education and alpha that is in there as well. If you're not using all that free stuff in there, what the fuck are you playing at? Get in there. Get involved. Right, welcome in. Welcome in. What's up, Lokar? Alex is in. Sin, first as always. Sin is always in first. So yeah, just having a look at the multiverse at the minute. Couple of things I'm eyeballing. Mentioned to the lads in the private section earlier on that I think E&A is going to crack this supply. I was up for Maker cracking this supply as well, which it's done now. So absolutely on a monster roll is Maker. If anyone caught the longs from yesterday, really well played. I think this was a good TP yesterday. Possible relongs here actually as well yesterday. And sometimes you just get that intuition that this supply ain't going to last. It's going to crack, 1, 2, 3, bang, and we're gone. So I know a couple of guys in the socials caught the long on Maker yesterday. Really great start to the week if you did catch that long, because the rest of the market was absolutely crab sideways. So well played. Yeah, brilliant stuff. So what we'll do is, what's up, Max? So what we'll do is, usual thing, we'll have a very quick look at BTC. And the current levels, obviously, and any fresh data we've got our eyes on. And then we'll have a look at some alts and see if there's any potential setups as well. And then we can discuss whether this is going to be, we're in June now, so a fresh month. So it's not quite a selling May, or is it? Should you have sold last week and held them shorts? I'm of the opinion we can get another rise up and hunt some bears. Whether that comes from right here, right now, or we take another little dip to go and grab some liquidity, remains to be seen. But let's go and have a look. Right, so we'll have a look at BTC first of all, shall we? Let's just go to a nice full fresh window, 15-minute basis here, right? So nice to see that the spot market, when I woke up this morning, yes, I get up at 5 a.m. Nice to see the spot market this morning lifting orders slightly to come and defend this monthly open. So in and around 104k. Nice to see it. At the time that was coming in, nice low open interest, as you can see here. Order book depth aggregated, okay, aggregated order book depth 1 to 10%. Not too bad, yeah, not too bad. Nothing directly underpriced in that 1 to 2.5% range, okay. So the depth is mainly coming from a little bit further away. But let's see what we get today, okay. So we're just battling in this zone. You've got the weekly open here that you've been battling for the last 24 hours, and you've got the monthly open, okay. So let's see if we can catch some bid in and around this zone and volley back up. Start of the US session, a little bit of a volume kick here. So it won't surprise me if we go and search this out maybe and fill this zone a little bit, and then we'll see what we can get. But yesterday afternoon, just going towards the end of the US session, said to the guys in Discord, look, not really favouring continued shorts here. You want to be waiting for a little rise up, to be honest, and we got that little pop. Main reasons for that: open interest very, very low. Gradual bullish CVD divergences. Now, whether you can call them bullish CVD divergences with the break of structure that we've had, or is it just pure lack of selling? Yeah, so we can have a look at that today as well. Right, so as we can see, Binance Spot, no real heavy spot bidding. I don't think you are going to see heavy spot bidding right here, right now. We've had a hell of a 4, 5, 6 weeks of uponly.com, haven't we? Okay. You know, I'm not going to be surprised to see some spot and perpetuals profit taking in the couple of weeks leading into summer. You know, people away from desk, you know, end of quarter remanaging positions, remanaging portfolios. You know, I can just, you know, it's generally the way the summer goes. So market structure wise, weekly looks good, daily structure looks good, 4 hours still kind of looks good, but yeah, lower time frames, we all know, everyone can see it, that we've broken that, you know, meme 1 hour trend line, and we're coming into this kind of like area where, yeah, okay, if you think that's going to be a deviation, we need to see some bid underpriced to send us back up, okay. What's up, swaps? Right, so we'll run through this pretty quick because we do this on every stream, don't we? And I don't want to bore everyone. I think certainly the OGs in here, we can all see what's going on. Really, okay, so Bitfinex, a little bit of bid. I'm not too fussed about them really, to be honest, but nice to see they've got a little bit of bid under price. Coinbase USDT, I don't think that's the bigger market, to be honest, but they have got a bid under price. Coinbase USD, not a lot here right now. They have had some offers capping price above, and a lot of exchanges have got this 100k price. I'm not gonna really suggest that we go there straight away. I think that's going to take a little bit of time to get there, to be honest. As always, you know, let's have a look. What kind of percentages are we talking? What price are we at now, actually? 105, okay. Yeah, 4%, right. It's not that. 4% is nothing, is it? 4 or 5% is nothing. The way the current market's been though, it's been quite calm, hasn't it? Okay, to go down to 100k, you would actually be breaking some bigger high time frame structures, to be honest. So although it might be worth a bid, to go down there, I think you would maybe spend a little bit of time down there if you did get a little bit of a 4-5% nuke and visit that zone. But quite a few exchanges have got that zone, okay? Gemini, yep, they've got a few, resting limit orders there. 100k, 98, and even 95 down there. I know there's probably some big kind of gaps down there or something. Anyway, just running through the other exchanges, Kraken USD are well up for defending this area. 100k, absolute stacked bids there. Similarly on Kraken USDT as well. Qcoin, I don't think there's a lot of resting limit bids in the books on Qcoin, but to note over the last 24 hours, I have seen the ratios on Qcoin up like this in the 60 ratio. So just something of note, because they haven't been involved too much in recent weeks. Going to the perps market, all important perps market, okay? Nice to see we've got a little bit of dynamic bid coming in here, okay? And then we're coming off the back of this from the weekend, yeah? So that was nice to see, held price all the way through. Really, really nice to see that price has held that zone. Overall depth has disappeared though in the perps market, okay? So you can see it on the chart here, the overlays have disappeared, and you can just see it in your ratios here, you know? If anything, if you're a bit of a geek like me, I've got my eye just on this widget all day long, okay? And I can just see there, USDT, one of the biggest markets we've got, okay? If you're unfamiliar, Bybit just don't provide us with all the data. They don't for many platforms, to be honest. They just don't give us or anyone else access, okay? So as you can see, the biggest perps exchange we've got on offer, Binance USDT, and we have lost depth. Yeah, we've lost depth. 55 ratio, but it's 10 to 25% away. Do we really give a shit about 10 to 25% away? No, I certainly fucking don't. It's too far away to think about, you know. I'll think about that when we get there. So immediate zones, obviously this zone now, 104 in and around here, because you've got a perps offer there. Okay, and then you've got spot defending price as well. We have already come down earlier today, okay, just in the European session, and visited this zone for a nice little scalpy bounce, okay? And I think it was worth a bid there, and I think it was actually worth a little bit of a bid yesterday. But this zone looks a little bit more convincing to me than yesterday. Remains to be seen, obviously. We'll see what we get today, won't we? Yo, what's up, High Farm Lab? What are you farming? What is High Farm Lab farming at the minute? Are you do you farm the DeFi? Right, so that's it basically. That's our bid ask, okay? Nothing particularly strong under price, but a couple of levels on spot and on perps, yeah? So I think this zone is a little bit more of a secure day trade scalpy long. Okay, I'm not saying it's an absolute swing long position in here, because the bid isn't fantastic. Yeah, okay, liquidity is still high, and we can have a look at that as well. Okay, so that's the bid ask. Nothing particularly strong, but are you going to get a particularly strong bid or ask up here after you've put in an all-time high leading into the summer months? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so volume, let's have a look at volume. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so leading into, let me just reset that quick, zoom out. Okay, so leading into the weekend, or coming out of the weekend, should I say, bullish volume CVD divergences, maybe more suggestive of just lack of selling. And it was nice to see that on Saturday, I think it was the 31st, a lot of timelines on Twitter going into a low volume, illiquid weekend. It was nice to see a lot of bears on the timelines in certain socials and on Twitter getting bearish here. And of course you drop to the lows, and of course everybody wants 100k, they want 96, they want 94. What do? Fuck you, let's bounce. Okay, you've got to read this as it is. So I'm not going to call it, although it technically is bullish CVD divergences, it was on a weekend. I was quite up for a little bit of a squeeze over the weekend, okay? And what else did we see as we entered into that lower region there? Low open interest, LS ratio turning slightly bullish again, and funding coming down, okay? Not negative, but coming down, yeah? So from last week, we're looking for pullbacks anyway, yeah? fair zone of interest, 105, 106. We didn't hold those zones. I don't think there was any reason just because you're looking at a level to say, well, I'm going to long, right? Because we look at the order flow and we have a look at what's happening, and there was no reason to long there, okay? So coming into the weekend, it was just a case of, right, let's go chill and then just see what we get as the weekend develops, divergences, and then we check the bid to see what's coming in. So that's all nice, yeah? It's all nice. So I'm not particularly up for this rotating down right here, right now. If it does, I'll accept that as a trader, you know. It's just a case of, right, okay, I'm not seeing a reason to short this kind of zone here unless we move up and take some high liquidity. But this price action right here, right now, is not something I would say, this looks terrible, I'm really bearish here, so I think I'm just going to start dropping shorts on because it's going to go down, yeah? It's just not the way we should work, really, is it? Okay, so let's see what we get today. Oops, I am moving my levels. So a couple of other things to look at while I am going through these. As I say, this is what we do week in, week out on Bitcoin and other markets, isn't it? And this is the way it should be. And as I said at the beginning, I don't want to bore everyone with, here's your bid ask, here's your volume, here's your liquidity, blah, blah, blah. But what I have to say is, as boring as it sometimes is, nice to see Bitcoin moving up, thank you very much. Always the same on these US Opens though, be wary that it could just drop back down. As what I said right at the beginning is, I don't want to bore everyone with going through this process, but what I'd like to get into your heads, especially if anyone's new, I know the OGs in here will be familiar with this process anyway, is it's the sort of process you have to go through day in, day out. And when you get used to going through that process, it comes familiar, okay? And in actual fact, when you do it, you know, when you go through this process, you're looking at the bid ask, you're looking at the low open interest in these zones as we drop and everyone gets bearish. You know that coming out of the weekend, you've got bullish divergences to a certain extent, or you've certainly got lack of selling, like I mentioned, okay? Now, this process, in reality, it should be fucking boring, excuse my language, but it should be boring. You should look at the flows, like, you know, and say, okay, lack of selling, a little bit of bid coming in, okay, perp depths could do with being a little bit better. We've got a little bit of bid coming in. I like the selling down here, lack of selling, should I say. Open interest is nuked down, funding's quite chilled, volume looks okay. Right, I'm not looking for shorts in this zone, I'm potentially looking for longs. It should kind of be boring, to be honest, you know, I think. And again, you know, 80%, 90% of your time, you should be observing, planning, okay, do I want a long down here? 10% of your time, execution, hitting buttons, okay? So I just wanted to highlight that. And that's why we go through these processes at the beginning of these videos, at the beginning of these live sessions, and then we can get into the ins and outs of what is Altcoin doing and is the hat staying on in the altcoin market. All right, I just wanted to highlight that. High Farm Lab says, I farm DeFi airdrops, everything that can be farmed. Good on you, sir, or madam. Yeah. Do you know what? It's probably a more relaxing way to get involved in the crypto market, isn't it, to be honest, rather than directional derivatives trading. I'm always quite jealous of the options traders that just trade volatility, you know, sell volatility or buy volatility or whatever they do in the options markets. It's just those fucking absolute brainiac geeks. We probably should just get into it, actually, you know. They probably laugh at us trading directionally, don't they? Swap says Binance ETH perp volume BTC. What does that mean? Do I need to go look at it? Let me know if I need to go look at it, Swaps. Max says crypto Twitter never gets what it wants. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a whole different conversation, isn't it? But about human psychology or whatever you want to call it. But I also farm, lab, grow my own cannabis. Nice. You might be out of business soon. I'm sure everyone will make it legal soon. Right, so that's BTC, nice and easy, right? I'd like to go and hunt some bears and hunt some high liquidity. Two reasons for that. I don't really want to position short here. I think I think if this structure change is going to show us a little bit more distribution, then we're going to see it in the floors, right? You're going to rise up, you're going to see that supply hit hard, and then you can put your shorts on and hit the beach in the summer. Yeah, that's the way I want to see it. So quickly, very quickly, let's have a look at trading view on big boy BTC, yeah? Right, so trading view. Nice rise up today. Here's our levels. So posted the levels yesterday. It just turns out that the first one we came down to was that 103, 104. So on Twitter, posted out 103, 104, or this level, okay? On a Monday, and this is why I like to do the live sessions on a Tuesday, okay? And I like to do the video on a Tuesday as well, is because more often than not, on a Monday, you put in what can potentially be the start of the weekly range, yeah? So it just happens that we went to the low side first, okay? We know we had divergences, we know we had a slight bit of bid, and we rise up. So exactly down there yesterday in the Discord, mentioned to everyone, don't look for shorts down here, okay? Did I know that we were going to put in that move? No, I went to bed and got some beauty sleep, all right? But here we are now. So I think this is a nice cluster of zones at the beginning of the month, monthly open, monthly VWAP, weekly VWAP, okay? At the beginning of the month, you're bound to get all this, okay? And we've had hardly any price action considering we're coming into the end of beginning of June, aren't we? So you're always going to get this cluster. But weekly open just above, daily open actually up there as well, 105. So I think you need to be in and around this zone at the very least if you are potentially going to get your bear hat on, okay, and look for further shorts, okay? So if we reach up into these zones, and let me just zoom out and show you that structure there that we broke down. Obviously, we all know about the trend line. I don't give a shit about that, to be honest. So we were looking for deviations into this zone, 105, 106 anyway. Absolutely cat's cock hair off that point of control there. No, a couple of guys in the socials got that short down to this zone, didn't they? And then yeah, we do what we always do. Bitcoin ranges, doesn't it, 90% of its life. Okay, so I think at the very least, this is a small range at the end of that all-time high price action. Obviously, we've got these ranges that we've had before. We've all seen those. And then we start to form this small kind of range here, I'm going to call it. Not much of a range. Okay, but we can see the value area low of that previous range from the other week just there. So I think it would be very classic to go up and hunt and confirm that as resistance. The trouble I have with that is an obvious reason. Okay, absolutely everybody is going to be looking at that, yeah? Everybody's going to be looking at that. So you're looking at this kind of like 106. Let's just do that. You're kind of looking at this 106, 107 region, okay? We might not even get there, okay? I'm not one of these who will say, this is where we're going and we're bullish and then we might go for new all-time highs. You know, that's just not the way I play it, okay? So I'm sorry if I'm not a moon boy and, you know, whatever, but we trade the levels day by day. We're fucking trading, yeah? We're not moon boys, right? So if we get up there, this is where we want to be looking. But as I say, my first issue is this is going to be an absolute classic tier level that everyone's going to be looking at. I would be up for going a bit higher into the 108s, all right? I don't know how long that's going to take, and if we do. But I'd be up for deviating a bit higher and then seeing what supply hits up here. In the 108s, in the 109 regions. Why as well would I like to go up there? So if we just go back to the all-important order flow, obviously. Okay, so this is your previous week value area low. So it's not that far away, okay? But a little bit higher, just above that 108, 109. What are we looking at? Okay, let's just zoom into here and I can put the old top level chart on as well. That is our first major area of supply, okay? Not 107. Yeah, so it could be that we get to 107 and then the orders and the offers start to drop in and really start to attack price, okay? So you've got to be aware of that, okay? Things can change hourly, you know, of course they can. It might be a case we rise up, we take the Monday highs, we go and attack this classic tier zone of 107 that everybody's looking at, and in fact everybody's right. right? Okay, so that is it. That's as far as we go. But everyone's got their eye on that zone, and we know, okay, looking at the trader console, that actually this is our biggest area. Okay, so just under that 109, I would say. I don't know if you'll get that far. It might be the case that you reach into that zone, supply attacks that zone, and then you roll over. But that is a good zone, I think, because what it'll do is it will clear all the early shorts, okay, classic level, and then you push a bit higher. But we'll see, okay, we'll see. It could be the case we just ping pong round here for the next 48 hours. I hope we don't, because we've had real low volatility. So it'd be nice to get some rises, even if we just drop back down here again now. But yeah, I'd like just some bloody volatility, so it's more entertaining, isn't it? So yeah, that's BTC. One thing I just want to point out again, I've been pointing it out on every live session, is the liquidity chart. Okay, so whichever way you cook it, right, whichever way you want to build this recipe, liquidity chart is getting red hot. Okay, I'm not going to deep dive into this. Go to my playlist, go to the TRDR playlist and have a look at Liquidity King. But you know, if you're familiar with this chart, you will know that this is getting hot now. Okay, it is getting hot. So if we get another rise up to that 109 or wherever it is, you know, we'll see the supply when we get there. Maybe it's a little bit lower, maybe it's a bit higher. We'll watch as we go. What I want to see is that supply come in the books and really attack price, and I'd like to see this open interest rise back up, okay, as everybody starts to call for a fresh all-time high again, okay, because a rise up again in the open interest, yeah, like we had up here, okay, at the all-time high, obviously, with the liquidity in the books getting a little bit fruity, a little bit juicy, that's going to give us higher time frame compliments as well, that yeah, okay, this is probably it, let's go down and rotate down for that summit, okay, so you've got to keep an eye on this. We've had a couple of alerts already, okay, we've come back down, do we visit back up, get some heat back in the market with that supply, and build a picture to go and get our shorts on and hit the beach for the summer. That would be absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, crypto gods. CoinM walls to fill. Yeah, agree. Did I show you CoinM at the beginning? Oh, they brought them down. Yeah, so they've actually just dropped these, haven't they? I wasn't watching at the time, but they have dropped these. Yeah, agree. Like I said on the video earlier, look, it's good to see these, but it's only one market. Okay, it'd be good. It would be good if USDT was also aggressive here and one of the spot markets, either Coinbase Pro or Binance. But yeah, I would rather fill these walls. You know, this could be one entity that's done very well over the last 4 weeks, and they wanted to take a bit of profit. You know, why wouldn't you? You know, go and enjoy yourself, get yourself across to the Amalfi Coast and enjoy your profits, sir or madam. Yeah, CoinM fill the walls. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. So I think that's BTC. Let me know if I've missed anything. We know where our classic tier levels are. We know where our main bid ask levels are. Let me just go and show you that on a clean top levels chart. Let me just go to a clean top levels chart. So there we go. Okay, so monthly open. We've got our bid down here. Okay, slight perps offers hanging around above. Then we've got some resting limit orders there, 108, and then that is where we've got our biggest levels. I think if we could have one big push, that would be classic Bitcoin as well, to be honest, you know. Absolutely classic Bitcoin. With that though, let's have a look at one thing before we jump into any shit coins that you absolute degenerates want to go and have a look at. Let's have a look at the OBC. So what price we at? You should know this off the top of my head, shouldn't I? 105.6. Okay, so let's have a look at, we've got any liquidity gaps. What market am I on? I'll go to spot first. Let's have a look at spot. Am I on spot? Yep, okay. So 2 day, yeah, nothing really. You would have to, yeah, you'd have to really stretch under. So this is your defense here. Okay, so 350 BTC, 348 BTC. You'd have to really stretch, and your liquidity gap would come under, which can create some wick space, would come under 103. To the top side, on a 2 day basis, yeah, you'd have to go a lot higher. 1 day, let's have a look at a 12 hour, let's flick through these. Yeah, not a lot in it, to be honest. Let's go and have a look at 4-day, and then let's have a look at perps. Yeah, and here you go. So you do have liquidity gaps from 106 to 108. So if you were to pop up and rise, you could get quite a nice easy slip from 106 to 108 really quick. If you were just to suddenly get a price rise here, that's quite a big gap actually. $1,000 price gap from 106 to 108. That's interesting. I'm glad we looked at that. That's on a 4-day basis, so I'm not saying it's going to happen straight away, but bear that in mind as well. Actually, if anyone's trying to short that classic TA level there of 106.25, we know, because we've got the data, you've actually got no resting offers up there, so you're going to get quite a bit of slippage and wick space up there, a little bit of a slippy area, and that's why I prefer a little bit higher up with supply on top. That'd be good, I think. Right, perps market then. Perps market's generally a little bit fuller, to be honest. A 4-day not showing us anything. Let's zoom down, yeah, because it just tends to, even though you can't see it, you get clusters of smaller orders in here that tend to fill up the price action. Yeah, not a lot to show on there. Right, let's go and have a look at some other stuff then, while I chill, because I've been chatting shit for 25 minutes already. So, look, jump in the chat if you need me to have a look at any alts or anything. To be honest, myself, I'm not really concentrating on too many alts today. It was Monday, fun day yesterday with Maker, obviously. Absolutely brilliant day with Maker, onwards and upwards. I was just laughing at one of the lads earlier in the chat because we were looking at a chart of Maker and it looked like a bear flag, or I can't remember what it was. Max, who was it? Was it Sin? And then I joked earlier because it's just absolutely breaking out, and I said, it turns out that was a bull flag. It's absolutely ripping and tearing, isn't it? Yeah, nice one. I think ENA is going to rip as well. Let's have a couple of let's have a look at a couple of alts then. Look, I think ETH is holding really well. Was it you, Sin? Yeah, that bull flag. You two caught the long though, didn't you? I know you did. You two caught the long. Yeah, look, ETH, look, any way you cook it, ETH is holding well, isn't it? Better than most assets. So historically, we would get bearish on that, wouldn't we? Because we've had years and years and years of Ethereum putting in these kind of like performances and then dictating that the rest of the market's going to go down. But in actual fact, it is holding well. It is holding well. Just had this level marked from last week. We came down from the weekend. We've taken that liquidity of last week's lows, absolute classic tier, and we've held, and it's rising up. Good to see it. Because I say, I hope Ethereum does well because it's better for the rest of the market. But yeah, I think it's going to. I think BTC could take over for the coming week or so. I'm not going to look at a dominance chart or anything. I just think, you know, coming next couple of weeks leading into summer, BTC might dictate whether we're going to chill out a little bit or whatever. Okay, not too much to see in the perps market for ETH, just to say that it's uber bullish. Not too much edge, no major top levels, but people are certainly really bidding it. So yeah, Sol, I think Sol's very similar. Nice chart here on Sol. Spot market really bidding Sol at 150. Nice deviation out of its trend as well, and potential to see it back up. I won't be looking to short Sol unless it starts to get heavy offers on here. Just bear in mind that Sol does, when it's on a run, really stretch those offers out. And nice to see if we do get any turn down again in the market. You know, it's quite a distance away, but 150 is what you want to see. So if anyone's been longing down here and you've been rewarded already, this is exactly what you want to see. You even want to see these guys move this bid up and push price above and beyond. Really nice to see from Sol. Perps market, similar to ETH, isn't it? You've got some depth to the books, but no real advantage. That can sometimes be the case when you're in a strong trending crypto market. You'll tend to see the perps books really fill up. Why is that? Because everyone's fucking bullish all the fucking time, right? That's right. So, you know, you'll often see some of the OG traders, and they'll get bearish, but with good reason, you know, sometimes, because it's good to sometimes take the other side of that trade, isn't it? Call it a counter trade, whatever. But yeah, you know, so sometimes when you're looking at some of these assets and you look at the perps books, they can sometimes offer real edge, especially if they really fill up and it's really heavy. Don't fight it, you know. But in a trending crypto bull market, which we've had, and you know, still potentially do have, perps markets tend to be full, right? Because everybody thinks they're going to get 1000x. They're not trading like us, you know, level to level. They just think 1000x. You know, it's why your funding goes wild sometimes as well. So ETH and Sol, yeah, Sol with that level at 165. We'll see what we get. It's going to follow BTC to a certain extent. Su, poor Su. Funny one, this, isn't it? It's not really performed well. It's still doing quite good volume, but it's not really performing too well. Certain alerts kicking off on the way down, finding a base at the same time BTC does. So it's now in a bit of a stalemate, isn't it? Order books on Su have been good for months, and then ever since that hack, which I was laughing about the other week because I was saying to the lads how good the chart looked, and then they fucking got hacked. Interestingly enough, the last time I mentioned a chart looking absolutely brilliant, it was hype, and they got hacked within the hour. So if ever I put in socials that look at this chart looks good, they're about to get hacked. So bear that in mind. Right, Rune, not a lot to see on Rune, to be honest. I've always got it up here, Rune, because it just moves well. Right, so 90% of the time I leave the chart alone, I don't trade it, I ignore it, I don't give a shit. But sometimes Rune, even if it's just once a month, once every 2 months, Rune just sometimes offers a really good trade. Okay, but 90% of the time I'm kind of ignoring it, to be honest, but I do like it up here. Okay, we've looked at Maker, let's go into Infinity and beyond. ENA has been a very good chart as well. Really bid in these lows, so really nice to see that. Strong bid, good volume as well. Okay, so bear in mind 4 million aggregated depth of book, and I'm only looking at Binance Spot, Binance Perps, and ENA BTC here. Okay, I don't even think I have BTC on the aggregate, so I'm only looking at Spot and Perps. It's still doing more volume than most altcoins, to be honest, so that's why it's moving well. Yeah, so really good chart. I think it's going to crack this supply, to be honest. It looks like whoever this is has already lifted orders in expectation that we're going to run through that level, so that will be good to see. Why am I looking at Filecoin? Oh yeah, I was laughing at this earlier. I've seen this on a couple of charts recently. We saw it on STX Spot the other week. Absolute mega wicks down. Yeah, maybe the cabal is trying to fill or something. Do you know what? I shouldn't even be looking at this coin. It's absolutely irrelevant nowadays, isn't it? But again, it does good volume for some reason. I think it's a bit of a dinosaur coin. I don't even know if anyone bloody uses the thing. But it does really good volume. You know, if you look at the volume on something like Filecoin compared to something like Dash or you know, some other dinosaur coins, maybe Adder. What's Adder doing? Yeah, Adder does quite good volume actually. But anyway, yeah, it does good volume. I don't know why. And the order books tend to be good as well. So even here, if you're scalping or day trading this, these are trades to take, right? If you can get a couple of % on your derivatives, these are the trades to take. I don't know why the order books are so good. I don't know who the fuck is interested in Filecoin and why they're trading it. But yeah, I just always have it on my watch list. AVAX, not a lot to see, which is disappointing since the other week it was mega longs, wasn't it, the other week, and then we've just rolled over and done nothing. So that was the long day trade long, okay, not spot swing longs or anything that we mentioned the other week. Really good trade, good percentage up, and then it's just fucking done nothing, which is shit. You don't want to see that after seeing the order book depth as it was the other week. You really want this to be a trending market now, and it's not. It's just not doing a lot at all. And the depth of book on it is fucking shocking. 500,000, and we've got more markets in here as well. So I thought AVAX was going to do well, to be honest. Maybe they're about to get hacked. Right, let's have a look at some other stuff. Right, S, I'm always looking at that because the chart is low, no other reason. So if you see my watch list here, it's just the certain coins out of interest. LDO, is making potentially a little bit of a comeback. Is there a bit of an ETH narrative there? Maybe, yeah, maybe. The order books have been a bit shit, but I just noticed it's trying to get a bit of market structure change, so keep an eye on that one. Comp, I'm looking at comp because the chart is really, really low. But like I mentioned on one of the charts last week, is the chart low because it's just an absolute sack of shit and we shouldn't even be looking at it, right? You know, after like I mentioned the other week, if the full market, say Bitcoin's done 40% upwards in the last couple of weeks, not couple of weeks, has it? In the last few weeks, right? So Bitcoin's up 40% in a couple of months or whatever it is. Coins like Sol, Su, even ETH obviously doing well. You know, and then you look at this, and I'm in two minds because there's a few like this. S is the same as this. There's a few other coins like this, and I look at it and I think, okay, is this good risk reward and good value, or is it just an absolute bag of bollocks? And I shouldn't even be looking at this thing because it hasn't moved. While everything else is doing really, really well, it hasn't moved, right? And yeah, you can look at this wick and say, go fill the wick or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. You know, generally, if everything was down here and looking good and it's doing good volume, I'd say we're at the lows of the range. We're looking good. If you get a deviation, you want to bid it. Of course you do, range lows. But there's no strength in the chart. That's all I'm saying. So there's certain assets I'm looking at because they are still ranging. They are still low. But is it weakness or is it value? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Probably about 1000x and I should have longed it, isn't it? Right, let's go back to the order book. But there's your levels anyway. Point of control there. Yeah, I mean, you're in value. You are in value. Right. DeFi still doing well. Yeah, DeFi is still doing well. Uponly.com. Especially Aave. Aave is absolutely up. Let's have a look at a couple of memes then. Pepe order books have been a bit shit. I can only surmise that it's doing quite well on DEX as well. And I'll tell you what, let's have a look at the screen and what kind of volume is it doing now. Yeah, it's still doing good volume, is Pepe. It's just the order books have not been too good. Not been too good, to be honest. So while we're there, I'll keep this open and we'll come back to the screener in a second. So let's go back to the console. Yeah, I mean, it's moving up. It's moving up. So if you're a holder, spot holder, whatever, it's good to see it after it's had such a good couple of months. It's probably just consolidating a little bit. But you don't get much edge out of the order books, really, unless you get perps in an absolute fire like that. So it'd be better if we saw some real depth of book on it. With... yeah, not much edge on whiff as well. Someone just having a little bit of a sell there on whiff. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's again, keep an eye on it because sometimes it's a good order book and it does do okay volume. Not as much as Pepe, but yeah, keep an eye on it. Trump has been shit, to be honest. It's probably going to go to zero at some point. It's the kind of asset where I don't care who's behind it. If we get a downturn in the summer, it's really going to suffer. I think because it's got such low volume, the order books are a bit shit on it. Perps market, not interested. Looks like some kind of algo just holding price up. Spot market, they're coming in and bidding it now and again, obviously, but they're probably on the wrong side of the market, I would say. Doge, let's have a look at Doge. So Doge came down to a nice demand zone. Okay, at this 0.19, I'll call it. Still got a bit of a big order block there. And similar to Sol and some of the other coins, a little bit higher. Okay, you've got these offers. So bear that in mind if we do get that rise up on BTC. If we do get that rise up on BTC, that a couple of alts have got these larger offers as well. People are just taking a bit of profit, okay, after an amazing couple of months. And again, just leading into the summer, absolutely nothing wrong with that. BNB Cabal coin has been doing well. There's been some God, it's a slow mover, isn't it? Yeah, it really stretched these orders here the other week. What I would say about this zone is you always want to aim for that higher top level, to be honest. If you're going to, I mean, forget that this is B&B. Just imagine it's anything, okay? It generally will fill a couple of levels, and then, you know, this really is your invalidation, to be honest. I don't think it's even fallen that much. It just looks like it has because it's been a boring coin. But yeah, perps massively selling into B&B. I don't know why. I don't know. It's rare to see that. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I might have to keep an eye on that today. I'm not going to short it, and I could be on the wrong side of the market there. I'm not long BNB, but I'm not going to short it either. But that's an interesting development. I didn't see that earlier on when I woke up, and that was at 6 a.m. my time. Yeah, let's see. That could even just hold price. Even if BTC does get a rise today, that could hold price. To be honest, I don't know obviously what entity that is or whatever, but what another thing to look at is obviously they're short in there. You can see that massive aggregated supply come in. Look, negative 54 ratio, but in actual fact the open interest is quite low on the coin, really. If they're committed, they will drop the price. They will drop the price. It's funny because they were bidding it up last week as well. It was only last week I was looking at this, so something's going on. This white line is a higher time frame daily resistance to support flip, to be honest. I can go show you that if you want, but just go look at a daily chart. So it could be the fact that someone, or, you know, I don't know, maybe this is just the market, maybe this is the market maker or whoever's saying we need lower prices, you've got to push this down, okay, to get these fills, and maybe it's a spot fill or something. So what we're looking at, 640, let's have a look at spot. Yeah, maybe someone wants fills a bit lower, you know, and they just need to push price down. We'll see. I'm going to keep an eye on that one today. Right, a couple of others, and then drop in the chat if you need me to look at anything. I think a few Instagram influencers and scammers shill Filecoin. Filecoin, yeah, I mean, it's fucking such an old thing. I don't know how relevant it is anymore as well either. OM actually started moving up a little bit, and it probably deserves to as well because it's been down only forever. ZRO, keeping an eye on that because I know that some guys were obviously watching this. Again, it's this again. If you look at ZRO, the chart is a little bit like comp we looked at earlier. There's no edge in the spot order books. It's so messy, to be honest. So whether it's a good project or not, I would suggest you don't particularly want to be trading this in and out on derivatives. There's better assets out there. It's a really messy book, to be honest. But yeah, I just want to keep an eye on that because I know someone mentioned it the other week on the lives. TRB. No, I mean TRB is going to come right back down after that monstrous move last week, isn't it? From this long here, absolute monster move, wasn't it? Yeah, it does this. It does this about twice a year. TRB does this twice a year. Up, down, sideways for another 6 months. Up, down, sideways for another 6 months. If you can catch those moves, then good. Obviously we caught some of that the other week, and it was actually on the screener that grabbed my attention. Okay, so that's the advantage of the screener. So I had some alerts going, but I had the screener open as well. Okay, and it was at the top of, I think it was at the top of the spot, and the perps bid ask in the 1 to 2.5, and I just saw it. I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna have a look at that. So yeah, always worth it when you can catch those kind of moves. Right, a couple of other bits, then drop in the chat if you need me to look at anything. I can look at stuff like Fartcoin, but the books are a real mess, same with Brett and a few of us as well. LTC, not a lot to see there. Polkadot is doing shit, and I noticed someone's trying to get out the market as well on Polkadot earlier. I don't fancy shorting anything like this. Look, it can easily just drop, but if you just look left at where you are, it's been pretty flat price action, and a 4-hour and daily chart will be pretty low as well. So stuff like that, very valid, but yeah, I mean, what are you going to get out of it? Maybe infinite bear market, you never know. Lizard, Illuminati, XRP, not a lot to say. wicked down the other week, and then it's just been filling that wick and ranging here. Spot order books, a little bit messy again. So again, not much edging trading this on derivatives. I do have some alerts on XRP, but they very, very rarely trigger. Cardano has been filling spot down here, so certainly someone is interested in spot market on Cardano. I don't know why. And then I was just watching Teo as well, because of that mega wick, but similar to that coin we looked at earlier as well. Was it Comp we just looked at and had a mega wick? And it's just downonly.com, isn't it? Not a lot to see there. So what we doing Bitcoin? What are we doing, sir? Let me just go to a 5-minute chart and observe the goings on. Yeah, a bit of choppiness in there, little bit of choppiness. A little bit of bid came in there actually in that European session, so that was nice to see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, just look left. We haven't moved in 12 hours or so. Some of the other coins are doing a little bit better. 35 ratio on spot, so you've got a very slight bid, but not enough to particularly move price. I think it's one of them situations where if we are to rise higher, it's going to be some market orders just stepping in and saying, yeah, let's push this higher and see what liquidity we've got from the bears or whatever. What's them CoinM bears doing then? Yeah, let's go fill them. Let's go fill these and then we'll see. You know, we'll see. That's always my sentiment on perps. You know, get as close to these levels as you can. It's not always the case though, because sometimes what you'll see is you'll see these levels like this and they won't always fill, but you'll know when they won't fill because the overlay will just get like a death cloud, get really, really aggressive. They'll start selling in and these offers don't get filled because people just go, fuck this, I want out the market, okay? Market orders come in, people just start to put limit orders in and around price. That'll be in your 0 to 1.5. You'll see that get aggressively red, okay? And then you know, and then your overlays will go red as well. You know, your overlays will go really, really red, close to price. These guys might even just drop offers, and that's when you go, okay, enough's enough. Yeah, it's not going any higher. We need to short this down. At the minute, yeah, at the minute, 12 hours of sideways price action. We need to see what we're going to get, don't we? Yeah, let's see if we can rise up a little bit. So look, drop in the chat if you've got any questions regarding the console or anything, or any coins we need to look at. Just gonna have a look at the stonk market. Neutral. Oh, what a boring day. It's not summer already, is it? Yeah, a little bit of a boring day in the stonk market. Unfortunately, Nvidia's up. Tesla's been uponly.com, which is nice to see. But everything's got some gaps to the downside now. E-mini futures, gaps to the downside. Nasdaq, gaps to the downside. So I'm not going to get ultra bearish yet, but just bear in mind that we do have a lot of liquidity to the downside on stocks. So if BTC rises up, stock market starts to roll. More often than not, I think in the previous few months, crypto has been lagging stock market a certain extent, maybe only a week or so, but just bear that in mind. Right, so let's have a look at what is going on. But yeah, if there's no questions, I think that's it. Drop in the chat now or forever hold your peace. Summary, okay, up for a little bit of upside. I want to do a little bit of a bear hunt. Why? Lack of selling here, really, apart from CoinM. So CoinM are doing some selling or profit taking, okay? So we've got lack of selling, not really interested in shorts right here, right now. Spot market has come in on one of the biggest markets we can view, okay? So Binance USDT, and they're here at the 104 level, right? So that's what I call a defense because they're moving price up. So they're defending this level. Slight open interest rise right here. Could be to do with them shorts trying to get out, actually, maybe. But yeah, whether it comes right here, right now, I'm up for a little bit of a rise, or whether we just need to tickle under this monthly open again and visit this demand zone and see how serious the buyers are. Okay, I'm still up for a rise up. Okay, whether that's in the next hour, whether that's in the next 24, whether we need to come down in the next 24 hours and then rise up. Timing wise, I'm not too fussed. I'm just not up for short in the market right here, right now. I'm up for a rise, take some liquidity. And then I want to see if that supply gets aggressive, okay? So we can think about 107, 106, you know, and above there. They're classic tier levels. But in the order flow, okay, in the order flow, we know that our biggest levels aren't until a little bit higher, yeah? So we know, let me just go to here. We know that our levels aren't until a little bit higher, okay? First big level, just under 108, and then under there, 109. So I would prefer this zone. Just because I would prefer this zone doesn't mean Nick's going to get it. But I would appreciate that, because then it just makes for a good LARP on Twitter, doesn't it? So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's summary for BTC. I think most alts are going to follow. Well played if you've traded some Maker in the last 24 hours. I know that Max and Sin in the chat did. Whether you took profit early and you missed out on this little percentages today or not, it doesn't matter. You were on the right side of the trade. And I think it was actually Sin who posted it yesterday at 5 a.m. There's something that caught my attention yesterday at 5 a.m. So well played Sin, well played Max. Trade of the week, that trade of the last 2 weeks, to be honest, apart from TRB, that was a mega pint long. But yeah, Maker, absolute killer, especially yesterday, seeing as it was the rest of the market was flat. So yeah, really well played. So yeah, summary, let's go a little bit higher. Let's search some bears out. If we're going to get a sell into the summer, I'm not going to call it bull market over, but just bear in mind that in the summer it can be a little bit quieter. You know, some of the whales go to the tropics and go to the coast, don't they? So maybe not everyone's as active. That is all I'm thinking. You know, sideways, bit of down, gather some momentum, gather some bid. Maybe we get a really, really good Q3 into Q4. I'm kind of that opinion, to be honest, especially looking at weekly charts. Into 2026, that's all absolute crystal ball speculation though, isn't it? As traders, we will look at the order flow day by day. Quick look at the screener before we finish. Yes, I'm looking at bid at the minute. I'm not particularly looking at offers, but we can do. Usual suspects in the perps market. Just to say, one thing I do want to point out is that when I'm looking at the screen, I do have this on my all assets watch list. Okay, so you'll always see that I'm sometimes go to this perps version here and I'll say usual suspects. Well, in actual fact, if I go here, okay, and I tick that off, then I'm going to be looking at all markets. The reason I sometimes don't do that is because I get all the Bybit perps data in here, and we all know that traders on Bybit are absolute degens. So they're absolutely mega bidding something called RIF USDT at the minute, right? I don't even fucking know what that is, right? So I like to refine things down. It's a constant process, yeah? It's a constant process. You could put all assets on and then put in there. You could type in there Binance. You could type in there USDT, okay, or something like that. Refine it down that way as well. But you know, you maybe create a watch list just for the screener. Maybe you have a Bybit watch list. Maybe you have a Binance watch list. But yeah, just keep refining it down. That's all I would say. That's why when I just wanted to point out that when I say I'm looking at these and it's the usual suspects, that is the case. Yeah, spot market XTZ has been constantly bid, but it's an absolute shocking chart to look at. BCH, absolute scam coin, is getting some bid. Let me have a look at offers if we're rising though quickly. You've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to maybe think about a little bit of a hedge if we are rising up. Anything that stands out? ETH, yeah, and ratios coming up on ETH. We did see some offers though, didn't we? Negative 56, so nothing to get too bearish about at the minute, but you are hinting at double ratios coming in on ETH as we rise up as well. So bear that in mind, yeah, bear that in mind. Perps market, let's have a look. Yeah, everyone's bullish. Nice one. Everyone's bullish at highs after we've been going. Everyone's bullish after we've been going uponly.com for months and months and months, which is why I'm of the opinion that we maybe need to calm things down a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. But nice, we're rising up here, so that's good to see. All right, guys, look, I think that's it. If there's any questions you've got, and you didn't want to drop them in this chat, just go find us in the socials. Don't forget to join the socials, the Discord, the Telegram, okay? Don't forget, if you get any free time, right, first and foremost, the docs page is fucking unbelievable, right? I've been coming in here, when I'm, you know, maybe I'm waiting for something. I've been coming in here and going back through stuff, right? You need to get in here. If anything, okay, it gives you an indication of how things work. It's just fucking free education as well. The quicker you learn the process and the quicker you learn what you are actually seeing on the charts, the quicker you can make dynamic decisions, okay, and on your executions, you know, okay. So you've got to jump in there. Also, don't forget, there is some free stuff in the academy as well, okay? So these are all still very, very relevant, all right? So jump in. If you don't understand what the overlay is, you've got to jump in here and check out DK's order book overlay, okay? CoinCal's risk reward, still as relevant as ever. Docs page there, free videos there. If you need a little bit more in-depth education, okay, access to the private Discord and a 1 hour, 24-minute video, just have a look at that, okay? It's just a little bit more in-depth of how I actually use the console and trade with my system. All right, guys. But look, I think we could be in for a bit of a good week. Again, Maker's been a brilliant start to the week already. Nice to see Bitcoin moving up a little bit here. Let's hopefully go find some bears. Don't be surprised if we do chop about here a little bit. Okay, maybe we rise up a little bit, fall back, weekly open level here at 105,642. Do we have to just confirm this area? Bitcoin's a slow moving out. It could take hours and then maybe a little rise up from there. If we fall back down, that becomes resistance. Then we're going to go back down and let's see how hungry these bulls are at 104k. All right, guys, look. Let's have a good week. No strong biases, please. Keep it discretionary. Keep it dynamic, okay? Week up each day. When we visit these levels, have a look at the order flow, okay? None of this. We're going to 96k. We're going to 94k. None of this. We're going to 111k right now, okay? That's not healthy for you. Just wake up every day. Interpret the data as you see it, okay? And make those dynamic decisions. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll speak soon.